I would like to reiterate our partner's proposition and promote the national adoption of the Cap and Trade policy as laid out in the American Clean Energy Act and Security Act. The adoption of this act would have many beneficial attributes, including improved air quality, new opportunities for business, and advanced public health. I would first like to establish my partner's claim that the United States needs to adopt a cap and trade system in order to fight the dangerous effects of carbon emissions. And I would also like to refute Christian's claims against the dangers of carbon. Christian is correct in one aspect of his argument. He states that carbon dioxide is not as harmful as some of the other greenhouse gases we are fighting against. As this is true, there is one essential fact that he left out. According to the United States Energy Information Administration, in the year 2008, approximately 84% of greenhouse gases we emit come from carbon dioxide, whereas the other gases Christian discussed, such as methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbons, and sulfur hexafluoride, only make up about less than 16% of our total national emissions. It is the excess of carbon in our atmosphere that makes it such a danger to the environment and to our health, much more so than the other gases. Also, the EPA is already regulating some of the other gases that Christian described to be harmful. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, under the Clean Air Act, the EPA sets limits on certain air pollutants, such as ozone, methane, and nitrous oxide, including setting limits on how much can be in the air anywhere in the United States. This helps to ensure basic health and environmental protection from air pollution to all Americans. Therefore, we need not be concerned as much by the regulations of these gases, as Christian stated. However, the great excess of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere has proven to pose health risks, as my partner Shelley pointed out. According to a Stanford University news release, while it has long been known that carbon dioxide emissions contribute to climate change, a new study details how for each increase of 1 degree Celsius caused by carbon dioxide, the resulting air pollution would lead annually to about 1,000 additional deaths and many more cases of respiratory illnesses and asthma in the United States, which is according to the paper by Mark Jacobson, a professor of civil and environmental engineering at Stanford. Worldwide, upward of 20,000 air pollution-related deaths per year per degree Celsius may be due to this one greenhouse gas. The rise in carbon emissions has created not only environmental dangers, but potentially fatal consequences to our human population. While other gases, such as methane, ozone may be more toxic in small doses, carbon dioxide is definitely one of the more harmful gases in our atmosphere due to its exuberant abundance. It is because of this great excess and the danger it imposes that we need to establish a large enough program to be able to handle the vastness of the carbon problem. Which brings me to my next point. Christian discusses the EPA's efforts to regulate greenhouse gas emissions. I would like to argue that the EPA is not sufficient enough to handle a carbon reduction program. Due to the fact that carbon is such a large part of our nation's pollution problem, we need a large enough program that will deal specifically with this issue. A cap and trade policy would implement such an industry capable of handling all aspects of the carbon industry, including environmental, health, economic, business, and many other features. I would just like to clarify that even though the EPA is a reputable organization and has been successful in regulating smaller greenhouse gases, such as the ones mentioned previously, my partner and I believe that it could not handle the vastness of the carbon dilemma. Field experts also agree with us. According to a New York Times article, EPA experts state that the Clean Air Act, now more than 40 years old, was not designed to regulate ubiquitous substances like carbon dioxide. Using this law, they say, would capture carbon emissions from new facilities, but not existing ones, blunting its impact. They also believe that a broader approach that addresses all sectors of the economy and that is fully debated in Congress would be better than a regulatory approach that could drag on through the courts for years. Creating an industry through a government agency such as the EPA causes many problems. The regulations implemented through this organization can be easily overshadowed by another congressional act. And when issues arise in deciding regulations through the EPA, they go to the courts in order to make decisions. On the other hand, if we simply establish a congressional act to create a nationalized cap-and-trade system, all decisions would be made inclusively in the bill, saving a lot of time and hassle. I would like to conclude my argument by saying that it is very pertinent that we adopt a cap-and-trade policy soon. The effects of excess carbon dioxide emissions are clearly negative to our environment and our health. We need to establish a policy that deals with carbon emissions specifically. The EPA is not a sufficient means of doing this, as the carbon issue is much too large for an already large organization. Instead, my partner and I are both advocating for the national adoption of a cap-and-trade policy in order to reduce the dangerous effects of carbon dioxide. Thank you.